Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the most professional Protoss player out there right now. The #1 ranked in the world, it's the mysterious MaxPax. But a matchup we don't see often enough, and I'm always happy to see again. The Zerg player to the north, in the blue, the final boss. It's Dark, a best of 3 PvZ on new maps. Yes, from the Team Liquid map contest, where the entire category, instead of having different categories, it's freestyle. And by freestyle, what that means is maps that pro gamers do not like. Anything that is straying even an inch or a centimeter from the perfect standard is illegal in the minds of pro players. They don't like it, but hopefully you do. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,232 likes on this video, on this cast, on this one of the most requested series in the last few weeks. And I'll cast another one. And I've got a lot of games from the Team Liquid map contest. And we're going to do that. So, I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. I'm very excited to hopefully make it just a little bit better. Let's go over the map. Something, well, likely you haven't seen before. Amphion is a, both bases, bottom left, top left. So we expand away from each other, kind of like Equilibrium. In the current map pool, there is a set. I do like how map makers, just for those of us who are too dumb to figure it out, five minerals. So that's 1 trip per worker on each of those mineral walls, which lead into the natural. That rushed it. Wow, getting the Oracle in well before 4 minutes. Dark not bothering. Spore crawlers are for nerds. You know, if you lose only 1 more drone and then don't need that spore crawler again, it's cheaper. Because in order to build a spore crawler, it kills a drone. Of course, it's not cheaper if you lose more drones over time, so... But Dark has never been accused of being a strict mathematician. Well, honestly, my first impression, it kind of looks like a 2v2 map. And it shouldn't be my first impression, because I played most of the Team Liquid map contest maps against viewers, but that doesn't take much attention. Oh my god, can you see through the world there? Oh my god. Space. The final cheese tier. Wait. On the edge here, it looks like water or something, but over here, it's a void to space. Are we on like some sort of asteroid that has its own atmosphere? You know what? Let's not... And surfboards and Monster Energy drinks, the sponsor of the team. Doesn't really matter. Both players are going to be needing more energy, though, in the early game, with oracles heading across. So with these sort of maps, it almost inevitably, as the game goes on, lends itself to a more half-map scenario. Oh my god, it's crazy. Like a portal to another dimension there. I'm very interested to see... Oh, there's a mixed gold base here. The Adepts and Queens don't do much damage to one another. Another mixed gold base. I love the... It's not particularly dramatic, but having a couple gold patches in there, why not? Oracle comes in again. Let's focus on the units, Winter. Let's talk about the... No, you've seen it before. The Oracles dance around the edges of the creep. The Adepts throwing shade. And so far, Dark has built up that worker count. He's at 64, but MaxPax close behind. 60-something himself. And neither player... So there are 2 options for pro gamers. 1, they haven't looked at the map before they loaded into the game. 2, they've prepared a particular cheese. 3, they've prepared a not-so-particular cheese, and they're just going to do some sort of crazy all-in because they don't like the look of it. And 3, they actually played the map before and have an interesting strategy. And 4, they're Dark. This is giving me real Swarm Host vibes. Any map where you have these sort of areas that are so obviously open to something like a Nidus. Speaking of that particular devil... Nidus is on the way. Nidus Swarm Host on any map where you have kind of a pocket area to land them has always been a much more viable strategy than in many other cases, a more conventional style maps. Like, I think the closest to a most conventional map is either Hard Lead on the smaller side and Solaris on the larger one of the current map pool. Which some of these maps from the Team Liquid map contest will likely, eventually, at some point, whenever the intern gets a lunch break sometime in the next quarter, may join it. So we'll see if Amphium makes it. All right, the first real losses here. In fact, the first losses at all for MaxPax. He's managed to take out 11 drones, handful of Zerglings. Lost 2 Stalkers there in that first engagement. Boxed in by some destructible rocks. This is by far the most obvious strategy Dark in general could be doing, but MaxPax has yet to scout either the Nidus. He has seen the infestation pit. I'm pretty sure MaxPax is going to realize the exact moment that scream comes through, he knows what's going to be happening, but he's already expanded towards the center here. The Blink Stalker's on the front line, looking for an opportunity to break through, but the Nidus pops out. Another Stalker goes down. Are we going to see a recall preemptively? The Oracles need to come back. The Swarm host Richard, Sir Richard, and his merry band of brethren, the boys for short, have joined the field, recently finding a lot more success rather than being an accident, very intentional. And unfortunately for MaxPax, his forge exposed and ripped to shreds before the Locusts themselves time out. Another Nidus over to the right flank. It's a Dark game, all right. If it sounds like you're playing the final mission of the Wings of Liberty campaign on Nightmare, it's Dark, all right. There's Niduses. There's gonna be potentially Brood Lords, Lurkers everywhere. Honestly, the cinematic nature of the Nidus screams, I love them. You know what? Very, very quick side note. Quick aside. Why do battlecruiser tactical jumps just sound like you're opening a menu when they activate? Why aren't they like the sound of a warp drive ripping through and the space-time continuum and breaking a massive shockwave into the air that resounds throughout the map? Why is it like click? I don't know. All right, because Terrans are boring and sad, unlike MaxPax and Dark, and the Locusts are fighting the Stalkers and actually getting some kills. And every one of those Stalkers that goes down is permanent damage, whereas the Locusts will be grown yet again. The Swarm hosts patient fathers. And Warp Prism over to the right corner. We got Charge done, +1. That Forge going down definitely slowed down MaxPax's upgrades, of course, but things are expanding across the map. A bit of a circuitous path here from the Zerglings, but they will get there eventually. A great setup, delaying some of his own mining, but making it very difficult for the Zerglings to find any damage here. Dark still besieging MaxPax on all sides, and no! The Zerglings get in! And every second... Oh, shades of hero here. Every second you're looking back at your base is another second Dark is going to be trying to rip a different one from you. Another wave of Locusts coming in, but the Colossi, he drops it down, whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my god! Oh, that's a lot of damage! Almost kills a Colossus, almost kills a Nexus, but almost isn't good enough. MaxPax holds the line for now. And he's still got 180 supply. Corrosive Biles. Dark on the left. Dark on the right. Dark up the center. But MaxPax pushes him back for now. We've got Lurkers as the inevitable follow-up. Colossi just not so great against them, especially if Vipers end up on the field. But even if they aren't, the Colossi don't burn hot enough to get through those carapaces particularly quickly, even if they can detect them. And MaxPax has done a good job of keeping his treacles, okay, his oracles alive. Meanwhile, another wave of Locusts, Swarm hosts. Only one has gone down. Ah, Sir Archibald. You always were the slow one. Back into the Nidus. More Lurkers on the way as Dark has traded out some of that Roach Ravager. He's now got only 67 drones. What? Morphing a Lurker outside the Nidus. Not a bit optimistic there, but more and more bases are going to be taken. A spread of Lurkers and a forward vanguard of Spore Crawlers in order to take out the detection and just zone in general. Maybe get those Colossi. They're very easily distracted. What do we have over here? A single Stalker. I mean, why not? Just whatever he can put in there. We got another army fighting the Roaches, blinking forward. Charge lot's gonna surround. Dark actually drops 20 supply, but here we got Lurkers and Locusts, the double siege. Gonna be far too much for MaxPax to deal with. We'll be forced to back off, but the Locusts actually drop down and take out some of the that's a propaganda Greatway units. TM. Oh, MaxPax, I don't know if this was intentional, but it seemed like he waited until the hatch finished and then sent the charge lots in and we'll slice it up. Gonna get some of the drones as well. Dark has plenty, but it's a precarious line. He actually mined through the mineral wall. Not that the Blink Stalkers would care too much, but gonna intercept the queens. Oh, wow, Lurkers. You shall not pass. Shut up, Brenda. Shut up. Sorry, I blacked out for it. The War Prism, charge lots getting sliced and diced. Crosshatch there, and the queens have abandoned the ramp in order to chase down the Prism. Now MaxPax going to use that to cleave potentially the bases in twain. 10 charge lots are warping in towards the main. The tech is vulnerable. The Swarm Host idle in the middle of the map. Not really using the Locust. Dark on the back feet. And the charge lots are slicing up the entirety of the main base. The Oracle's taking some damage. Stasis actually going to lock out the queens. Another stasis on the top of the ramp. Oh, he gets it at the last second. But down goes the hatch. And Dark had the foresight to expand with his hive and most of his tech to his natural. I appreciate that decision. The charge launch still picked up. Recalls the rest out. Another attack over to the right flank, hitting that base in the top right corner. Meanwhile, Dark gonna throw a Nidus down in the center of the map. MaxPax has so many bases right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's not quite as many as I expected. I'm hard pressed to actually learn how to count. But how many hatcheries left for Dark? He's got a hive and 2 hatches. So 3 in total. That's all he's mining from. But his units aren't particularly, he has some of the most efficient units in the game. A glaring issue, though, is there are carriers and Tempest on the way. MaxPax was not sitting idly by. He was growing his tech tree up towards the end game sky toss. And now, it's coming to fruition. He's got a Templar Archives on the way, as well as already working on upgrades for his capital ships. And another scream. He keeps throwing Niduses around. If even one of them finds a good opportunity in this army. Yes, there may be a Colossus. There are so many Lurkers. 24 Lurkers eviscerating the front line. MaxPax is able to pull back in time with at least a portion of his army, but this multi-pronged defense is fragile right now. There's not that much to deal with it. The Lurkers are slicing through some probes, easily pin-cushioning the cannon here. And now, ripping his way... Oh my god, Dark! Dark! The Lurkers, there's no anti-air, but the sheer biomass of these Lurkers is so much to deal with. And here come the Swarm Hosts as well! Vipers on the way. Lurkers working on that center base. 33 probes down thus far. It won't end there. Lurkers burrowing at the base. They were long distance mining from MaxPax. No longer has an abundance of probes. The times of plenty have ended. The bases are falling. And Dark strikes back. 45 probes, 2 Nexi, and a huge chunk of the army. Dark now evens the score. He's lost 6,000 less minerals, but 2,000 more gas, which is these two just working 2 entirely different angles. MaxPax with the multi-pronged defense, with relatively expendable gateway units, working up towards the capital ships here, whereas Dark is now shifting into Hydra Viper, which is a bit less of a meticulous composition and more of a brute force take out the carrier situation. Now, Dark's signature unit, which is all of them, but the Infestor. Not the Cyril Fester. Those are 2 distinct different things, okay? But the Dark Fester is a very different vibe, usually accompanied by like 20 more of them, but Neural Parasite at the exact wrong time has defined, or right time, I guess, depending on who you ask. And now finally, the original intent of the Swarm Hosts will be executed. He gets a Stargate. He gets the Templar MaxPax He built his Templar archives in the most vulnerable location of the main. But does Dark have enough to defend? The Vipers have full energy here, but he's grinding through the Lurkers, and there's still so many Archons. The Vipers are good, but those Archons are better. Blinding Cloud, I think, is going to be needed. Like, the Tempest, Pully and the Tempest aren't the threat here. The Archons are. The carriers are annoying, but without the Archons, the rest of the army is nothing. Oh, he's microing. Parasitic Bomb onto the carriers, but the Interceptor's already flung out onto the field. Reinforcements coming through. Parasitic Bomb still going to work. Actually knocks down a Tempest during all this, but the Archons are leading the charge. The power is arguably overwhelming right now, and Dark is plummeting in supply, but MaxPax comes in with a wave of locusts, and he wipes out one of the Colossi. He gets much of the ground army. That is a possible and probable counter to the Archons, but he has to keep the rest of the army alive. The times of plenty have certainly ended. Neither player able to really, but almost no income at all. Oh, another beautiful Parasitic Bomb. This one will grind through the shields. Here come the Hydras. There goes the Colossus, and the carriers are on the run. But the anti-air is still so lacking, almost takes out the Viper, but it lives! And a Hydra takes down a carrier! There's no more detection! The Lurkers run the other way while they have an opportunity. The carriers weren't there! And now the drones are under attack! Long distance mining for MaxPax! The carrier's onto the natural! He's gonna try to chop the tech tree off at the stump, but Richard and the Brethren, they are making their way across the map. Dark has only lost 3 swarm hosts in this game. He's gotten so much value. And it's not over yet. The Lurkers over to the right flank. The swarm hosts staggering out their locusts. A base trade scenario. +3 air attack is on the way. Almost nothing else in production. Down to 100 supply and dropping. There's no way they can rebuild that 1,000 to 300 income per minute. Barely rebuild Zealots at this rate. The tech tree will be gone for Dark. There was a Parasitic Bomb which continues to soften up the carriers. There is still a hive. The Viper went down. The anti-air is 5 Hydras against 6 carriers and 2 Tempests. But you have to remember, carriers are a rich man's unit. And MaxPax right now has 0 mineral income, which is not very much. He cannot rebuild interceptors. Of course, he might not need to in this scenario. The Locusts come out. The Zerg carriers. And +3 air weapons is denied. And now the Dark festers. He survived. And he's got Neural Parasite and Burrow on the way. He has no real anti-air. 5 Hydras are nothing. He's got 5 Hydras against 6 carriers and 2 Tempests. Not a chance. And potentially a mothership. How has it come to this? Dark, I can't tell if he's scouting or long-distance mining, and por qué no los dos. He's got 25 workers to 16. They've brutally beaten each other to nearly oblivion. But the Void and the Legacy still has yet to be determined. All the Hydras are here. The Infestors are being built. MaxPax forced to pull back. Gonna try to protect the mothership at the Nexus, but I think the Swarm Hosts are gonna be too much. The Anti-Air try to target down, gets a Lurker, might get 2. MaxPax has now less probes than he started the game with. He's down to 10. But Dark. The final boss. It might look good. From MaxPax's perspective, he's scrambling. The infestation pit is bleeding out at the natural, but bleeding out is not yet dead. A death rattle worthy of the Diablo 4 storyline where everybody just decides to have an entire conversation before they finally die, so that way we can develop the plot. Oh, I think he spotted him. Yeah, that's been happening. Oh, but the Neural Parasite! The best counter to carriers is indeed the carriers. He might be able to see him, but curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. And now, using the Microbial Shroud to protect the remaining Hydras, he doesn't actually have enough energy here in order to Neural again. How has it come to this? The Infestors! He didn't kill the Observers! There's not enough energy! He's gonna kill the Ops! And then he can burrow! There he does. Oh no! The reinforce. He just barely didn't have enough energy. And right now he's trying to press the issue before another knurl comes out. 90 energy. It takes 100. He might be able to kill all of the probes. He's got to be very careful. I think one Tempest could kill all this. He might have to kill his own Tempest. Right now, MaxPax. Oh, he just burrows the drones. Genius. Just get out. Get out of there. You know he's down there. No! The Tempest! What do you do? He's not like... The Tempest, he's got vision with the burrowed swarm host. And there's gonna be another no. You gotta get out of there, MaxPax. But there's nothing to go back to. Oh, he built an oracle with his last ounce of minerals. What? No, Ricky! What have you done, Dark? He couldn't build the base on location because of his own Nidus. Oh my god. Is he really trying to outlast Knurl? That's a horrible idea. Here comes the Oracle. He's got to predict where the infestors are. He kills the base. If he Knurls the Oracle, you could just Knurl the Oracle and potentially use all its energy so it can't use Revelation again. 37 to 23 supply. This is madness. No. This is StarCraft. MaxPax has 0 probes. He doesn't know about the gold. It's not a gold. It's not much of anything. But it's more than nothing. And that right now, nothing is the income. Wow, the y-axis tells the story, but indeed, because we're asking why is this happening? And how did we get here? Dark has to start his tech tree from the beginning. His infestation pit bled out. He doesn't have a lair or a hive. The overlords are getting chased down. The Oracle... MaxPax is not rebuilding probes. I don't think he wants to risk them yet. Why is that infestor not burrowed? It was a bait! But, or was it? Wait. He got the revelation! He used the revelation! He used an infestor for bait, but another revelation! Wait, no! He charges up the Void Ray! And Dark playing Sky Toss! I think that's it! I think he's done it! He will take his own units and beat them into submission with them. Another Knurl takes out the carrier. JJ! Dark! Oh my god! The final boss in the most cinematic, almost scripted feeling game manages to beat MaxPax down with his remaining units in the most dark game I have ever seen. Somehow, every single day, he ups the ante. MaxPax playing a pretty beautiful... anyone else, honestly, I think that style has a good shot against Cyril. Because Cyril is sane. But Dark is inevitable. Wow. Wow. Well, we're going to Ghost River. Thankfully, there will be no ghosts here. Game 2, but I don't know how we follow that up. All those games against Hero paying off for Dark. Wow. Very glad I foreshadowed the infestors. I was actually very surprised that there weren't infestors earlier. Feels like Dark almost forgot about them. Or, in pure... Honestly, Dark is much less like Cyril and more like a Bond villain. Where he's like, I could have brought the infestors out earlier, but instead I chose to bide my time. I handcuffed you, and then I dropped you in the chair and waited conveniently for you to awaken, so that way I could brag about my amazing plan. No. Well, deserving of the most important power ranking. Dark. This will never get old, by the way. This is the best description of Dark I have ever seen. Only one of those players got to the finals of DreamHack Atlanta. Just saying. This map is so bright. I definitely played this one a few times. This one actually, in my opinion, plays pretty standard. You do have your kind of alternative attack path up to the north, which is very annoying to deal with tank pushes. But in this matchup in particular, you know, any map where there is kind of like this pocket area, like we saw in the last game, Swarm host stocks are going up, all right? They are, the Dark Nidus Swarm host style. Bly and Dark. Those are the players who get to make Swarm hosts. Everyone else, even Cody, I haven't seen Cyril win with Swarm hosts. Only Dark and Bly. Dark is like, if you combined Bly and Cyril's personality into like a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde situation. Or they just fuse together in like trying to find a sci-fi example of that. Either way, Zerglings still recovering from that last game. And that was a beautiful game. I want to point out how the entire game, as soon as the action started, it didn't stop. It wasn't like we sat back and tried to figure out what was going on. By the time we were able to pause, by the time we had a moment to figure out what was going on, it was because nobody had any mining left. They just beat the minerals out of each other for like 15 minutes straight until there were none left. And we had to fight over the scraps. Do not become accustomed to minerals, for you will resent their absence. Dark twirls mustache. Is he Baneling busting? Of course he is. Grab your emotional support, Zerglings. It feels like this is quite an obvious play. Oh no, what? What? The Zergling's trapped on the wrong side. I thought enough of them would get it, but it actually... Brenda! What? Karen, what? Walk faster. You know I can't do that. I get joint pain. We all get joint pain, Karen. Stop complaining. God damn. Sorry, I'm blacked out for... Oh, Queen's up the ramp. The Zerglings and Banelings, and there's only a single battery at each of these bases. The Queen's gonna tank the damage early on. Here to deal with the Oracles, but the Banelings from the back. Now this is the kicker. The Oracle's gonna light up. Not gonna bother with target firing the bait. The Queens are moving up. Goes for the pylon, gets it. Shield battery overcharged, negated preemptively. The shield batteries are nothing without the pylons to power them. Pylons are the powerhouse of the Protoss, and right now MaxPax is looking depowered indeed. He recalls. I think he was going for the Stalkers, but he also caught the Oracles there. And Dark will be claiming this base. Thing is, look at the worker count. Look at it. Down here. This convenient UI. 32 to 49. It's quite a deficit. And right now, even though Dark is able to kill this base, I think MaxPax correctly determined that cutting his losses would be a better long-term option than try to defend a base with a fraction of the army. These two are two of the most fun. Like, I love Dark versus Hero because it's Dark versus Hero. I do think MaxPax is well deserving of a slot as the #1 Protoss player in the world, though. Obviously, with the big asterisk of not playing in LAN events, but that's been hashed and rehashed many times. But when these two play, like, it's another dimension. It feels like Like, Dark is playing a Dark versus Hero series, and MaxPax is almost strong enough to shove his way through with pure mechanics. But not quite. Dark always slides away. Like, MaxPax won. His army won last game. Even in the end. It was just not quite enough to deal with Dark's devious mustache-twirling tactics. I do appreciate how Dark's villain arc literally culminated with growing a mustache. I appreciate that. That's like that's an attention to, that's a respect for the classics. Okay. Stalkers and Oracles. MaxPax hasn't really built any more probes past that initial bit. He didn't really need to in order to still maintain parity here. And now he's got quite a ground army. Dark does not have +1 melee. And until he does, well, he's going to be up against +1 ground weapons. So, it depends on the Banelings then. Because +1 ground weapon zealots only take 2 hits, technically it's 2 double attacks, but 2 hits instead of 3, which is significant buff, because they attack rather slow. Don't tell them that, but... So, +1 melee, and then good Baneling connections are definitely the ticket here for Dark. And we'll see if he's able to punch it. Melee attacks level 1. He actually just avoids confrontation. He sends the Zerglings across. Some Zealots will be warped in, but it's too late already. MaxPax has some very hard decisions to make. He doesn't have enough energy for a recall. He recalls to his natural, but his third might be gone alongside all the probes. That moment of indecision. And Dark. Dark kills 14 probes because MaxPax, 1, didn't scout it, and 2, didn't react quite in time. I think he was trying to select this Nexus, but it didn't quite have the energy for recall, so he had to settle for the natural, which by that point, the Zerglings were already doing their damage. There is no room for error. And even without that room, it's still going to be some damage. I like this, like, ethereal Ghost River thing, which is the name of the game, so... Or map. Unrelated. Well, somewhat related, but not really relevant right now. MaxPax still has a strong army. Dark just didn't bother with Baneling speed. Doesn't give HP anymore, he's just gonna waddle in. I don't know if he forgot it, or he has the buddy, so I'm gonna go with he's, well, at this point, just don't get it, Dark. All right, out of principle. Only need slow Banes to beat the #1 Protoss in the world. War Prism gets, get off my ring. The Queens take down the Prism, which has plagued him for the last several minutes. And now MaxPax doesn't have that lifeline of reinforcements. It's going to be very hard to maintain any sort of attack without any avenue of retreat. Dark already sending out a massive Zergling counterattack, looking to intercept some of these Zealots, but a lot of the Zealots going to the south side. The Queens taking the brunt of the early Stalker fire. Colossus on the back line. Still no Bane speed. He doesn't care. Zerglings all headed across the map. Hive is about to complete. Extended Thermal Lance is nearly done, but here we go again. Does he recall? He doesn't. It's on cooldown for another 10 seconds. He might be able to just break this base. MaxPax decides to go forward, as there's no going back. Dark is the naturals open. The gates are open, and the Zerglings stream through. MaxPax, do something! No! He recalls back to the main, but every time he goes back, there's less to go back for. He's down to 55 probes, which actually isn't that bad at all. But very importantly, he gives Dark, who still isn't bothering with Baneling speed, time to build Vipers, time to finish +2 melee. MaxPax's unit composition, I think he's mentally shattered from that last game. Honestly, when you get your own units turned against you, and that's how you lose the game, that does things to people. All right, that's Dark chopped off his arm and beat him over the head with it. Multiple times. Well, I guess he only has 2 arms. He got Abathur to regrow an arm so he could do it again. And give him a mouth so he can scream. All right, Dark. Holy shit. And the natural. Adrenal gland's not done. He's actually going to catch a lot of the Zerglings here. Yeah, pretty significant blow. 240 Zerglings have died. And that number isn't getting any lower. But the Vipers. Wow, really now, Baneling Speed Dark? Are you kidding me? I can't tell if he, like, that's the beauty of Dark, is like, half the time it's unclear whether he's trolling. Because there were so many obvious moments when he would have seen Banelings without speed. And he had the money to start it. But now is the time? Like, after 5 minutes of slow Banes? Okay, Dark. How does this happen? Yeah, but if those Banes were fast, they wouldn't have had that opportunity to kill the Templar as they were warping in. Come on. MaxPax cannot catch a break, but he can catch all of the Banes, it seems. Storm is on the way, but Dark is maxed out. 62 drones is enough. MaxPax. Oh, I thought that was a stasis now. He's already triggered it. Baneling speed is done in like 8 seconds. Well, feedback on a Viper. Yanks the other one in. Get over here. And 1, 2 Colossi down. Baneling speed completes for almost no Banelings. Gets into the middle line. And this is actually quite a haphazard fight. And it'd be quite bad for Dark if this wasn't also happening. He's cleaving through. He's already built 56 more Lings back at home. Shield battery overcharge. MaxPax struggling on all fronts. Zerglings on a Colossus! They rip it to shreds! They bite its ankles until it crumbles around them. And even Zerglings killing Colossi. This time around, last game was back and forth, but this game has plunged into darkness. MaxPax just can't get anything done. Every time he came across the map, he had to come back to less. And Dark has now grown. He's got Hive Tech. He knocked out the 4th base. He killed a bunch of probes. He's still got a Viper. Oh, is there a healing shrine on this map? Okay, we didn't even talk about this. So, the new map, in the map contest, there are healing shrines, which I don't think any of the players have really acknowledged because they probably just loaded into this map for the first time because that's how pro gamers do. But they heal like 5% health every second over time, but they're usually it's a new freestyle trial thing, which I'm sure Protoss players, it's very interesting, and we're not talking about it now. Like and subscribe, and we'll do a match that it's more relevant. I know there are some maps where they're much more prevalent and relevant to the battle. So, Storms, MaxPax has to play perfect, and even then, it might not be enough. The Viper, feedback, good. Corrosive Bile sprays and prays across the board. The base is dead. The supply is plummeting. Corrosive Bile, another spray. Blink Stalker's chasing down, but every time we look back at the supply count, it does not tell a story that the European Protoss would like to replicate. Ultralisk, you know, it's another one of those moments where it's like, is he actually trying to do damage, or is he just biding time so we can kill him with Ultras? You know, why not both? MaxPax blinks down to fight the Roaches, but the Roaches easily take out a bunch of the Stalkers as well. Yeah, it feels like Dark is intentionally not finishing him off so that way he can do so with the Ultralisks. We'll see. If he pulls back one more time, there's no reason to pull back right now. There's no reason for him not to just keep attacking. So, well, here, obviously, it's not going to work out. Gonna set up for the 4th. Drives back, comes in again, swings into the 4th base. Loses it again. Dark, somehow maintaining a triple-pronged attack. 5 Ultras in production. Oh, MaxPax saw the Ultralisk. And that was it. Dark with a final boss performance. MaxPax playing a great series, but I feel like Dark is just much more mentally prepared to play on new maps, to play new styles. When you don't have a style, it's much easier to try a new one. MaxPax playing a really solid Protoss, but game 1. Game 2... but that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. So thank you for watching. Be awesome. Check out the second channel for more content. Stream VODs. We got Zero Space, Stormgate stuff over there as well. And of course it'll be over here. But we're very serious here. Check out Recommended is very helpful. The suggested videos. And otherwise, that's enough from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.